ripping someone's spine out while playing the game. There's a definite side coming out here, Joe. Should we be worried?
I think that we'll just have to have a conversation around what interests we all have and what kind of big beliefs we all have that we can all share or at least buy into.
No. I want the strategy out there so people know the time and effort and consideration being put into this.
When people listen to the content, they're not wasting their lives just listening to podcasts. They're going to get something from it.
And right now on his screen there is more microphone than Joe.
Well, come on, let's be fair. You're probably right.
InspirationNation, hello, Lee Kemp here, finally back on the podcast with both Joe and Ryan. The first full set in 4 weeks?
Yeah, didn't I have a week off in the middle of it as well?
Yeah, slacker.
Yeah.
Oh, God. We're all back together. That's the main thing, right?
How are you both doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Very good, thanks. How are you doing, Lee?
I'm good. I'm very good, thank you.
Have you listened to my snide jokes at you in the last few weeks that you've not been here?
I haven't yet, but I am looking forward to them. I enjoyed the tease into them on our little WhatsApp group. Yes. Thank everyone out there for listening and watching, sticking with us, of course. We took our first break in 2.5 years last week. Of course, you can check us out social media at ListenToIN, ListenToIN, and Joe's pretty much everywhere. Just look for Jose Noya. You can't go on the internet without bumping into him. Apart from yesterday. So, this week, after my tardiness, it is time for me to bring up the subject. And actually, that's a nice segue because this week is going to be called What's Going On With Joe? So when I was last on the podcast, Joe.
Yes.
You, can I just say for those watching on YouTube right now, might have known a few weeks ago, Joe mentioned once or twice that he got a new microphone. And right now on his screen, there is more microphone than Joe.
Well, come on, let's be fair. You're probably right.
So, but on that same show, Joe, was when you talked about, we had the first recap when you talked about the fact you were going to go away from social media, you were going to try something different, you were taking a break from the videos. It was a big change for you. This has been several years of your life invested in that. You're going to take a different approach. And we haven't, other than a few text messages, we haven't really spoken over the last 3 weeks about how that's gone. I've seen you kind of appear back on and off again. So if it's all right, and I know it's a cop-out on a topic for the week, but I wanted to recap on how that's going, and then we can kind of chuck in our views on bits as well.
I'm just getting a bit worried because the last 3 episodes have all been about me. And
I was going to say the last episode we had, I asked Joe what was next.
Okay.
So I said to him what was going to happen next, and for those that weren't here, that weren't here and or did listen to it and know it's been a couple of weeks, Joe kind of said he didn't really know at that point what direction it was necessarily going to take. He still had the massive undertones of inspiration, and that was massive to him. But he did hint that we might see podcasts in the future of a non-inspiration topic. We could talk about something completely random, like our favourite films of the week, or whatever. We could have conversations about things outside of our usual world of conversation. Joe was he did say, and I don't want to speak for him, but he did say he wasn't ready to come back then at that point. So just kind of for your reference, Lee, that was the kind of stuff that we spoke about and kind of where he currently was.
Listen back, yeah.
I was going to say, Lee, you not listened to the episode last. Oh.
No, look, people are busy. We accept.
I'm a bit behind. No,
we don't be busy. We only do productive, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
You can get your T-shirt with that phrase over at InspirationNation.org.uk.
I think it's good to talk about how that further 2-week break has kind of affected Joe's trail of thought, and if that's changed, where is that?
I do think seriously, this is a big shift for you, Joe. We'll make this the last in our trilogy of Joe. Not like when we did, and people can get in the archive, we did about 700 episodes about personality types.
Yeah, we did.
Was a big one, wasn't it?
But it'd be good just to recap through this journey, Joe, before we kind of spring off next week into a new fantastical direction. So where are you with everything now?
Do you know what? I still don't really know. It's a real pivotal moment, I think. I think you're right. It's really, I don't know. I've really tried to go back and do the dailies, but at the minute I'm just feeling there's just something not quite right yet. It will happen, but I was just saying to the guys off air, actually, I'm going to share with you guys that I want us to have a little bit of a refresh on the whole thing. And I still think there should be an inspirational theme. That's my own thinking. But this, what I want to throw out, I want it to all of us to really rethink what we want to do and how I want to bring stuff. But all of us really sort of get involved in, creating that. But yeah, I was saying to Ryan on the last one that I don't want there to be any rules. We're doing this for our own backs, right? We're doing this voluntarily. So yeah, I think there should be a theme. I think that's my view, because it's a brand, right? But we should have no rules around it. There should be real freedom that we should all feel around having the podcast, about content and all that sort of stuff. So I said to the guys, I said we should get together and just really hash out some ideas. And I come up with a bit of a strategy, didn't I, Lee? But maybe I won't share it. Maybe we do, and then we can share it. Maybe.
No. I think I want the strategy out there so people know the time and effort and consideration that's being put into this. Well,
it's going to be some time in a month's time, or maybe 2 months' time, depending whether we can get to Inspiration Nation. Is it Towers or HQ? It's Towers, isn't it?
Towers. It is Towers.
Your house is HQ, I think.
Mine's HQ. So the idea is to go to the Towers.
Ryan's can be the bunker. That can be.
Oh, I like that. The bunker, the Towers, and the HQ.
Lee doesn't let me get much daylight when we're at work, so it makes sense.
The idea is just to get together. Go on, Lee, you're going to say.
I was just going to say, for those, again, watching on YouTube, again, just search for Jose Noya Inspiration Nation. That comment can be validated by Ryan's pasty skin that you can see right now.
Lack of vitamin Delta, that's for sure.
So, Joe, hit us with that plan.
Now, all it is, get together, get some ideas out on paper. Then what we're going to do, this is the secret sauce. So get ready, everybody. This is the secret sauce. We're going to go to the pub. We're going to then have a few to drink, then come back and see what we've written and see whether we like it and see what happens.
This will be Joe's first outing to a pub since 1984.
He's going to go in and ask for a pint of mild and some pork scratchings.
I really was the last time I went to a pub. Literally, I went there for a coffee. I think that was the last time I went to a pub. I had a coffee in the pub.
That's when you know you're showing your age, when you go to a pub for a coffee.
It was a famous chain that does free fill-ups as well. I don't know if you can spot the chain, but maybe I'll leave that to you. Free fill-ups on the coffee coming back. Anyway,
Rhymes with never spoons, yeah.
Oh, you did get it. Well done. But yeah, that's the big plan. At the minute, I don't know, Lee, and I'm really happy with it at the minute, because I think I've got to be comfortable with this, because I don't want it to be forced. I want it to be something that I want to be doing. And I love this podcast, and I want this podcast to continue. It's just what happens around it. Because I think and I said to Ryan before, I want everything to be into the podcast, so the podcast is the main event, and that the YouTube and the podcast are the main things. So that's really why I see it. But I don't know what that looks like, and that's why I'm going to come with you guys, and we're all going to get inspired. That's what I want us to get inspired and do. What's the next level?
So we're going in a good direction. It's kind of like a half journey update, this, which I think is what I was going to position this as in my mind first. But so that's this side of the fence, Joe. That's the change to your creativeness and the output and what you're doing. Like you said, there'll always be as a minimum the podcast. Seen a few daily videos here and there cropping up as well, so you're mixing it up. But with the time you've now created, I mean, we checked in on you on the first weekend, and Sunday morning, which is normally content creation, writing your blog, getting everything updated, and you watch Clarkson's Farm instead. So a complete different change of pace for you. How's that side gone? What are you doing with your time, and how are you finding that has benefited or not benefited you?
I'm really unplugging. I'm really just up for change. I'm up for just doing something different. But with the theme of this, right, to do this, and that's how I'm doing it. And actually, do you know what? I really loved computer games back in the day. I've actually watched Clarkson's Farm and watched Netflix has got a great show which I watched called The Squid Game.
Oh, that's on my list.
I've not started it yet, but it's all over social media.
I really enjoyed it. I'm
gonna watch it now that I'm on holiday for a week. I think I might watch one tonight.
Well, I enjoyed it. I'm not saying you're going to enjoy it, but I'm quite picky about the things that I watch, but it's just really intriguing. I really love that. And then I went out on the weekend and I bought myself, and I look at my PS4, I was thinking, do you know what? I was thinking, where can I play Mortal Kombat? So I went and bought Mortal Kombat the weekend. It was there. So I'm practicing that. And I spent Sunday night just trying to learn the moves, which was absolutely painful. So, it was so painful, in fact, that I still get struggling trying to do the practicing. Oh my God, the amount of buttons.
You're walking around the house with hands like this and like a claw motion.
My fingers really ached from it because I was trying to press the button. Guys who are good at Mortal Kombat, honestly, I take my hat off to you, because that is an art to do those buttons, an art form. So I'm going to learn a little bit of that. So what I suppose I'm doing is experimenting. I love playing computer games when I was a kid, and I think I want to get back into that fun. I want to have more fun. I think I want to have more fun with everything. And I think that's where, talking out loud to you, that's where I want to have more fun. I want to, I said to you before, you got me to thinking about getting into comedy. So I'm watching a bit more. That's still watching at the IT crowd. So I'm really like just throwing things in the air and just seeing what lands, and just going to flow with what I want to do when I want to do it. I'm just going with that a minute. I don't know where this is going to lead, but that's how I feel at the moment. I don't really know how to explain it, really. I don't know if I'll be articulated very well, but that's how I sit with it all. Don't know what you heard in that, guys.
I play a lot of computer games.
Yeah.
Go on, Lee. Go on. You had a list of things.
I was just saying, I heard Squid Games, which I've not watched, but I think is some sort of kind of Lord of the Flies type of last one standing type thing.
I'm not giving anything away.
I heard Mortal Kombat, which basically is, ripping someone's spine out while playing the game. There's a definite side coming out here, Joe. Should we be worried?
No, you'd be good.
Anyway, that was my complete non-value interlude. Back to you, Ryan.
They yeah, I play computer games, obviously, that's what I was saying. Lee occasionally plays computer games. He's a busy man. So it would be good to have maybe a segment talking about maybe, or occasionally, a big new game. Maybe we're all getting. Or, any major developments in that area. There are a lot of, if I'm talking completely frankly, the podcast genre is very saturated with a lot of people, and a lot of people that do the things we do. So it's going to be hard to find a niche to tap into that other people aren't already in. But that doesn't mean that we can't find that and we can't be good at that, for sure. I think that we'll just have to have a conversation around what interests we all have and what kind of big beliefs we all have that we can all share or at least buy into to facilitate a wider conversation with everyone. And I think as long as we have that passion, kind of like we've shown for the past, 135 odd weeks of doing this, then there can't be a problem with it. And that doesn't mean to say that we're going to move directly away from inspiration or having conversations about hypothetical theories of brain stuff, that Dummies book that Lee goes on about all the time. Can't remember what it's
Neuro-linguistic programming.
That's it. You can understand why I didn't remember it. It doesn't mean that we're going to completely deter away from that and not have any conversations on about that, because they're things that especially Joe and Lee have a lot of expertise in and a lot of experience in. So that's something that they should talk about, and I would invite that they do. But I think it just means that we can then open up our options to a plethora of different subjects and conversations. We could even talk about conspiracy theories, if we really wanted to. That's an idea we could throw out there. Because we all sometimes, I say all of us, occasionally we have polarized opinions from each other. So it would be good to have those conversations and, bat those sides of the field or whatever. But I think it's an exciting time because I think it gives us opportunities to reach new listeners and bring our existing listeners along with us for the journey that we're going to go on as well.
So I really like it. I really like this because I liken this to like bands, like music bands. They go through phases, don't they? They go through changes. And I don't think, like for me, I'm going to talk about a little bit of brainstorm on the podcast, but I don't think it's more about, thinking really about what is it going to be, this. I think it's about being us and being more us. Not that we're not, but being our uniqueness, like just being ourselves and bringing that more to. Not that we're not, but it's like, how do we evolve that? I think, like I said, Ryan loves his computer games. I sort of love that. I've got a bit of connection with that. Lee likes it. So we've got common themes, and how do we, make that happen into a way that's going to, help people, because that's something that I really am keen on doing. That when people listen to the content, they're not wasting their lives just listening to podcasts. They're going to get something from it. That said, I listen to things that you get something from it, get fun, get laughter, all that sort of stuff. I just want people to see the real us, because we're just three guys creating a podcast, wanting to help people. And I really love that concept. And through because obviously inspiration is my top value. That's how I want to feel. I want to feel inspiration. So there's people out there that may want to feel that, but other things as well. So I just feel that is the thing we're going to get where our niche is. They connect to us because of the people we are, and that's where I feel it's going to come from. Anyway, I just rambled on there, but just to speak of my thoughts, you really sparked something off really nicely there about uniqueness and us and ourselves.
I also think that, as Lee would probably detest this, but as the three of us come from different generational times,
well, you and me are the same.
There we go. There it is. There it is. So one of us comes from the 90s, one from the 80s, and one from the goodness knows whens. We if we're going to do the rotational thing that we have done for the past few months, where we each bring a conversation topic each week, it may be maybe a smart idea to, I bring a conversation topic that maybe you two wouldn't know much about. Maybe I could talk about something from the social media scene, or maybe the YouTube scene, or no, the two of you aren't huge on sport, but maybe from the sport world. And, I can tell you guys that's going to be what we're going to talk about, in the days before, and then you guys can look it up and have an insight into what it is before we do,
and then about like coal miners' strikes and 3-day weeks and back out
things before combustion engines and stuff. Yeah. And then Lee can talk about things like Star Wars and whatever.
And all over that.
And I've mentioned this to Lee. I don't think you're on the podcast, but I mentioned it to Lee. Now, I think we could be, you're going to shoot me down because Lee shot me down. No, we're not going to. It was like, we should be the loose men.
No, not a chance. Not happening.
When did you dream this? You never said this to me.
I did. I'm sure I said one of the podcasts. The loose, or when I said it off air, the loose men.
You dreamt this. This never happened.
We could be the loose men. But then that's probably because of maybe my age. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't want to know why your age and that goes together, Joe. Let's just move on quickly.
All right. I'll leave you.
I'm not sure we could talk about being loose men. But one is a copyright infringement, and two, it's a bit of a euphemism. I can't lie.
Or maybe we shouldn't explore that. Or is that part of the content creation from now on? Is it? I don't know.
No, I'd like to officially draw a line under this conversation and move on.
Please.
Okay. You've taken charge.
Everyone out there supporting us and what we do, we appreciate it. Head over to inspirationnation.org.uk, your one-stop shop for everything Inspiration Nation. Full details of the coaching service there. Sign up to Joe's weekly or somewhat whenever he feels like doing it blog. And of course, there is a store where you can get your Inspiration Nation merch. Me and Joe modeling our wonderful hoodies today. Also mugs if we have them, guys, for the mug shot on the camera.
Don't. It's been a couple of weeks, I'm afraid.
Ryan.
I didn't either, really. Sorry.
Lucky I'm here for the team. Those on YouTube are getting a good shot of my mug right now. All over at inspirationnation.org.uk. So we moved on slightly from how's it going, Joe, into an on-air production meeting, which is very much, again, like a journey update. Again, people go back through the archives. We've got 3 or 4 of them in there where we just chart the course of the podcast. It does feel we're at one of those change moments again. So we'll see certainly over the next month or so, I think some of that already starts to evolve and taking shape and see where we go with everything. But overall, Joe, for this, this quite seismic change in your routine, it seems like it's all positive. And I think there's a real message in there about pushing outside your comfort zone and not being afraid to change, not being afraid to maybe let go of things that were really good for you, but maybe not saying the videos weren't, but it almost became like doing them was more important than what you were getting out of them.
Yeah.
And you just, as you'd grown as a person over 2 years, it's evolving and moving on. And I think this journey you've been on for the last 3-4 weeks is a fantastic illustration of why that is so important and why we've got to be challenging ourselves and trying to do things differently and, pushing ourselves outside those comfort zones.
Yeah, because I was scared of actually letting the routine go, wasn't I? And I had to break it, and I felt I had to break it to feel uncomfortable, to think, well, okay, I'm not going to be doing that, so what is it now? It's almost like that scaredness of, okay, so what next? People get it, don't they, with careers, they get it with their lives. Okay, so something might happen in their lives and they don't know where they're going. I mean, that would mean by depression and all that sort of stuff I talked about in the previous episodes, but where do you go now? What direction do you go? And I think as a podcast, we need to grow. And I think what I want to do also is throw out to the listeners and the watchers on YouTube as to what they think, what they would like to see. I suppose, our current, because we're really dedicated to our current listenership and viewership. And what do you think? Tell us what you would like to see. What do you see? What do you really value? What would you like us to talk about? Because I think a lot of this is about dealing with those types of issues as well. I mean, I won't talk about issues previous issues. We can talk about, petrol, what do you call it? Petrol shortage and stuff like that. So these sorts of things that are really hitting people, and how do we deal with it? What emotions it can up? So people buying petrol, right, panicking at the pumps. So that sort of thing where it affects people's lives. So that for me is, what do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk about current things that are going on at the minute that are affecting you, how you can sort of deal with that? Or what is it? I don't know. It could be something different, right? But that's where I feel about it at the minute. Maybe that we're driven a little bit by that as well. We want to bring, like Ryan said, bring with us our audience. That's what I want to do. And
it's not a case of dropping anybody that's followed us up to now because we're changing. We definitely want those people. Definitely want those people to come with us and experience these new sides of what we're going to do together.
Exactly, and that's what I really want to do, because I think we're having a community, having a tribe of people that connect Inspiration Nation, bringing them along, I think is really going to be really important, and that's why I'm just asking for your view, because I think it's really important. We can put that in the mix when we meet up in the star plan that Lee thinks my plan is not, that we're going to generate some ideas, right? Does that answer your question, Lee? But
it does. It absolutely does. And I say I think it's again the tweaking of the show, keeping the same thing there about inspiration, but it doesn't always have to be, here's a textbook of how you grow as a person, or here's a model for development and stuff. All of that's really good, and there's a lot of that littered throughout it, but sometimes it's the little things and it's the everyday things, and it's in stuff, we talked about games or music, it's in all of that stuff. And actually, if we get to share some of the different things that inspire us outside of the core professional bit, if you like, I think that just broadens the scope of what we're talking about. And again, getting people to share with us what those things are that they do, and what big, small, good, bad, whatever it is that just inspires or motivates or just picks you up when you're feeling down, are the things to be sharing.
Well, I think I always look at ourselves as everyday people, right? Because you get all these big podcasts, that are massive personality.
Speak for yourself, Joe. Speak for yourself.
I'll speak for myself. But you know what I mean? Like, there's three guys launching a podcast, against, like Ryan said, there's a plethora of podcasts, to use Ryan's words, and to show people that you can just pick up a microphone and produce content and be you and do something that helps other people through the experiences that you have and the stories that you have and the experience you have, and passing that on was like a knowledge bank of experience, because we would have made mistakes. We've talked about them. People can learn from all that stuff. And I think having those things and the everyday things that people find challenging, I had a coaching session yesterday where someone struggling to get out of the house, can't even get, and so it's those types of things which, for me, we just those everyday things where people might get anxious in the morning, will not want to go to work, or because they've got that anxiety. So those everyday difficulties that some find easy, some find difficult, those are sorts of things that come into mind. The everyday people, that's what I suppose that's what I'm sort of alluding to. Everyday challenges.
Exciting times, though, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yeah, I think it is, because we have an opportunity to just look, we're doing this stuff for our own backs, and I don't know if I said this before. We can do whatever we want. Well, within so you know what I mean by that. But we could talk about I want us to have that freedom. So we can talk about stuff, and to people will tune in and go, yeah, those guys, they've got something to add here, and they connect with me. We connect with people, and that's how I see it. Because seeing a podcast, watching a podcast, there's loads of podcasts, but it is about those everyday things, and I think we can add to that conversation massively. And as I said, Ryan, all our generations, I know Lee tries to go in with Ryan, but that's just no chance with that. We've got a lovely mix of age, right? And I think that's a great advantage, I think, over a lot of other podcasts. That's what I feel.
Yeah, so it's the generational conversation, isn't it?
Generational conversation. I love that, by the way. That's another great topic right there. Anyway, yeah, go on, Ryan. Add to that.
That's my takeaway. That's my takeaway for you after this week.
Generational conversation. Okay, I'm going to write that down. What's it add then, Ryan? When you say that, what do you mean, though?
It means that we're suitable for all ages, 8 to 80, as the old Monopoly boards would say.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I've written it down. Lee, over to you.
So if we're on the takeaway loop, I just think changes in the air.
What's the context behind that, though, Lee?
So that's, I suppose, it started off with the checking in on you, Joe, and where you are with this seismic shift. And I think if people go back and they listen to the, probably the last 5-6 episodes, this had been building and been brewing in the tone of some of the conversations. And in my head, I came into this like, Joe's changing his approach, he's changing what he's doing. But actually, it's not. It's all of us. We're in this as a mix together, and we influence each other on it. And I say for people listening, I've got a bit of a meatier subject in mind for next week, which will be on a bit more of a traditional approach for how we do things. But I'm actually now thinking how we can chuck a few new things in there. So I think over the next few weeks, this is really going to evolve for all of us. And you've acknowledged, Joe, I think, a change we were all on, and by acknowledging that, you started to bring us along on that journey with you as well.
I don't want you to force your opinion on. I hope you would just say, no, Joe, we're not.
It's just naturally happening, Joe, naturally happening.
Good. My takeaway is just to be okay with not, again, I said this last week, but I just feel I'm still in that zone of not knowing, and I'm trying to get, I'm not comfortable with it, but I am comfortable with it. It's really weird. I feel like I'm in a really strange place at the moment with everything. It's like, it's just weird. I don't really like, so I suppose I'm going to go with it again because I just can't get past it. I mean, I don't know why, but it's okay to be that you're not really sure.
Absolutely.
It's okay to be unsure, I think. And I think there's a lot of people worry about being unsure about stuff, but to know that you will, if you continue to sort of grow and evolve and do ideas, you will get something that will resonate. You go, that's the thing. Let's try that. And it's like plan, do, review. It's plan, review, what's it working, not working, review it, keep building it, keep reviewing it, keep making it better, keep trying and innovating. And that's really what I'm trying to get across, I think. Oh, that might be a takeaway, innovate. You love that, Lee. It's one of yours, isn't it?
I do love that.
Innovation
Nation.
Top ones. Innovation Nation. There you go.
Superb. Well, that's been good. What I think we wrap up this few episodes of a big peek behind the curtain, a lot more philosophical, a lot more talk about the podcast. Back to meaty inspirational subject next week, and over the next few weeks we'll start to evolve and change, and people will see that happening. But I think this has been a good little self-reflective run of episodes for everyone. So hopefully everyone out there's enjoyed it. Again, check us out on social media at listen2in, listen TOIN, and Joe again across all platforms, Jose Noya Inspiration Nation, loads of stuff there, check it out. And last but not least, head over to the website inspirationnation.org.uk. We appreciate all of the support. Right, any closing words before I count us down? You look like you're going to dive into your big microphone there, Joe.
Yes.
Once again, we appreciate all you out there. Thank you for being on this journey with us, and lots more to come still. 3, 2, 1, Inspiration Nation.
Catch you guys later.
So I want to know now, what's your biggest takeaway? Don't forget to hashtag it with Inspiration Nation in the comments below, and make sure you commit to action. So you can catch all our other Inspiration Nation podcast episodes right over here. So go check them out. And also, don't forget to subscribe, because that will tell you when your next video goes live by you hitting that amazing bell. So until next time, it's Inspiration Nation, and I'll see you right over there.